morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids. And welcome to the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Crier Media Network. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, me, Mr. Beaver, and with me, a little stunned, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Today, recording day is Thursday, September 5th, 2024. And it's a beautiful day at the Beaver Lodge, a beautiful day at the Beaver. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? Oh my God. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. 'Cause this, like, buckle in, kids. This is gonna be a saucy one.
Well, I gotta start the day off with this, because this is like, seriously, this is how it
What the hell you say? SpaceX, what the hell is that? What the hell is this? What the hell? What the hell you so dramatic? What the hell you say? What the hell you say? What the hell? What the hell? Who moving the What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
What the hell? Why you fail geometry?
What the hell? You can get better than A. What the hell? I paid you all 20 cents. Where you going? What the hell? What the hell? We can already destroy mankind 15 times. Why you need more money? What the hell is this? You don't clean your room? What the hell you say? Lazy bastard, the light 10 feet away. You forget you have legs? What the hell? Look, there are two kinds of Asians, okay? Asians that can eat peanuts and failures. What the hell you doing? You're 9 years old. What the hell you doing in school? Go start a business. What the hell? What the heck? The hell you doing?
You're 9 years old. Go start a business.
Is that what that's called?
No, it's called every time Steven says "What the hell."
Oh my God!
Steven is a guy from Toronto who's a comedian, and the "what the hell" thing has to do with the fact that he told his father he wanted to be a comedian and not a lawyer or a doctor or what the hell.
Oh my God! But that is the reaction today.
Oh, there's another minute of that.
Oh my God! Jeez.
I cut it short after 1 minute and 6 seconds.
Jeez. Oh my word. Yeah, we need to put that sound on a recording.
Like,
thing,
it's
because
just
we're going to be
brilliant.
using that a lot. We'd be using "what the hell" a lot. All right.
Yeah, well,
big thing.
here's the thing. It's like I got to reach out to Steven and say, dude, thank you. Because you helped us this morning with the show, because literally I have nothing else. That's my only response. What the hell?
Hell, I know. Oh my God. Oh shit. Okay. A big thank you goes to our founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corbin Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Well, oddly, surprisingly, really freaking good.
Right?
Because what the hell? I just honestly, I have nothing else. I have nothing else. I mean, what the hell? Like, dude,
This is so bad.
oh my god.
Oh my god.
I
Okay.
literally I do not have any other response. I don't. I mean, like so I get letters, I get emails from the New Democratic Party and from the Conservative Party because I don't know. I went on their website once and I had to use my email to sign in to read their junk. So I get emails from both of them, and of course, they're vastly differently written emails. The ones from the Conservative Party are Justin Trudeau is trying to murder babies. I mean, that's the tone that they send you, right?
Right.
And then Jagmeet Singh is like, we made Canada do this. We made the Liberals, we forced them. I'm like, and the latest one was just like, no, delete. I read the first line and said, this is stupid. I'm sorry. I don't need to lose any more brain cells. I've lost enough over the decades by getting, pucks to the face. Oh, there's Lola. Just like I don't need to lose any more brain cells. I can't afford to. And when I saw his video, and of course Brittlestar had one, I think within seconds, which was completely brilliant because it mocked it so perfectly.
Okay, then we're gonna have to show it because I have not seen it yet.
Oh, you've not?
No,
Oh,
I didn't even
fine.
know it existed yet. No. Well, don't start with that one. Let's save that.
I'll dig it up. I'll
Yes,
dig it
let's
up.
save that. That's going to be dessert.
Yes, I'll dig it up.
I mean, not that this isn't already pretty damn sweet. Oh my, am I? Okay, I just thought that hit me. It's like, am I being like way too bitchy? Just, I'm delighting this. I mean, listen, never has potentially going to hell in a handbasket been so entertainingly bad, but the consequences could be horrendous. So it's not like I'm trying to take this lightly, but I am. Let's break out the words. I am dumbfounded.
Well,
I am
it's axe
astounded.
at axe _
I am
GRRL.
awestruck.
Her tweet, with this idiotic move, Singh might have solved the vote splitting problem on the left by inspiring all lefties to vote Liberal. And legitimately, yeah.
Right? I'm okay. I think Joe Clark can breathe easy now.
Yeah, and actually, yeah. I'm like, that's not even an exaggeration.
I'm okay. Let's. Do you have Jagmeet's ad? The thing, because I think he recorded when he announced this.
Okay, hang on. Let me see if
I
can
got
find
it. I could send you
You've
the
got
link.
it? Yeah, send me the link and I'll show it.
Okay. I might have to say, you know what? Actually, you know what? Rather than saying stop, because I went back to school, I'll take notes.
So I have.
There are things said in here that are.
There's so much not hot but really important legislation lolling around Parliament that will likely get shoved off the agenda while every party goes maximally tactical until the next election. Cybersecurity, privacy, AI regulation, tax changes, and more. It's just so the link you sent me, I have a link to a story, but I can't open the story.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. That was my bad. I thought I saw it. I thought I had sent you a link to the video. It was a link to a news article. Sorry. This is the link to the video. Oh. Silly me. See, I'm so excited. I didn't notice that the picture wasn't moving.
Oh, okay. All right, there we go. Now I got the correct one. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm like, what is? I know what you sent me, but it's just not. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
functioning correctly. So hang on. That's not it. There we go. All right. I've got it right here, and we'll show this for those of
Yes.
you who've not seen this. So I can tell you where this is taking place.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly where this is taking place. This is at the Ree Residences on Spark Street, which is a new building. And the top floor is a $4 million condo that takes up the entire top floor, overlooking Parliament Hill. It is a rental space right now for people to rent for parties and promotional stuff. Nobody's purchased it because it's $4 million. So let's just watch this because
Today, I notified the Prime Minister that I've ripped up the Supply and Confidence Agreement. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance. There is an even bigger battle ahead. The threat of Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts from workers, from retirees, from young people, from patients, from families. He will cut in order to give more to big corporations and wealthy CEOs. The fact is, the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. They cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the Conservatives. But we can. In the next federal election, Canadians will choose between Pierre Poilievre's callous cuts or hope. Hope that when we stand united, we win. The Canada's middle class will once again thrive together. In Canada, we take care of our neighbors. That's who we are. I've embraced that value my whole life. I'm running for Prime Minister because together we can and will stop conservative cuts. We can deliver relief and restore hope. Fix healthcare, build homes you can afford, stop price gouging. It's always impossible until it isn't. It can't be done until someone does it. If we're together, nothing is impossible. And we won't let them tell us it can't be done. Big corporations and wealthy CEOs have had their government. It's the people's time.
okay. So here's the thing. I'm not going to disagree with some of that messaging. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, some of that messaging is spot on, and I
Yes.
completely agree with it, and I won't argue with it.
And it's the people's time is really exceptionally good branding.
Yes. However, you're the fourth party, number one. Number two, you do realize you don't have a leg to stand on. Like, you're literally the fourth party behind the Bloq Quebecois, a party that only represents a single province in the country. They have more seats than you do. Now, the way he went after Pierre Poilievre, okay, cool, agreed. No problem with that. I agree with the messaging. But the government that is currently in power, the one that you've said you've been propping up, which, I mean, oddly enough, it's the Bloq Quebecois who's done more propping because they have more seats. Oh, Jagmeet, dude, like, seriously, did you smoke a big fatty before you made that video? Like, dude, what the hell?
You know what? What the hell? Like this? Seriously, we could make that the new "Was Up."
Yeah, it should be the new What's Up. What the hell?
Need to pick up the phone, Mr. Weasley.
Yes, hello.
What the hell?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just so
all right.
here. Let's follow with this. Follow up with this.
Thank you for joining. I have a message from the federal NDP. Today, our leader, Jagmeet Singh, notified the Prime Minister that he's ripped up the Supply and Confidence Agreement. It probably wasn't actually written down, but he did this motion. Canadians are fighting a battle for the future of the middle class. Justin Trudeau has proven again and again he will always cave to corporate greed. The Liberals have let people down. They don't deserve another chance. But we do. Federally, it'd kind of be our first chance. Sure, it's a long shot, but people win the Lotto Max all the time. There's an even bigger battle ahead. The threat of Pierre Poilievre and conservative cuts from workers, from retirees, from young people, from patients, from families. And we thought, what better way to try and stop Pierre Poilievre than somehow affecting change on our own from third place, technically fourth place. The fact is the Liberals are too weak, too selfish, and too beholden to corporate interests to fight for people. And yes, we are even smaller than the Liberals, so it doesn't make sense. But we are not beholden to corporate greed. If you see a petition table outside of Loblaws, it's probably an NDP supporter. The Liberals cannot be the change. They cannot restore the hope. They cannot stop the Conservatives. And in a much more obvious way, neither can we. In the next federal election, Canadians will choose between Pierre Poilievre's callous cuts or hope. Hope that when we stand united, we win. You know, like a coalition or a supply and confidence agreement. Together in Canada, we take care of our neighbors. That's who we are. Jagmeet is running for Prime Minister because he really, really wants to be Prime Minister. An NDP Prime Minister in this economy? Yeah, it could happen. It's always impossible until it isn't. It can't be done until someone does it. Freedom for a buck. Like it could totally happen, right? Right? It's the people's time. But more importantly, it's Jagmeet's time. Thank you. We are so boned.
Yeah. 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 Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
We are so boned.
Okay. So, you're going
Well,
to
I mean,
hear all the typical stuff, right?
it's some of the comments on Jagmeet's video. It's like, nope, my strong NDP riding has a by-election in 2 weeks. I fear it will flip blue. I might as well just vote Liberal. At least I'll have my conscience. Like this, I'm reading tons of commentary like this from long-time, lifelong NDP supporters who are like, bro, what the hell?
So, kids, you're going to hear all the typical stuff, right? Oh, this is what this means, and you know, the easiest place that you
Yes.
think that this thing can go, right? Is like, you know, does this mean that there's going to be an election? It's like, well, no, this does not mean it's going to be an election. Now, if you know that you would listen to the show for a while, you know this because we've been talking about it. First of all, Parliament is divided in such a way that if the Conservatives want to take down the government, they need the help of both the Bloq and the NDP at the same time.
Correct.
Right? Number two, the NDP just finished paying off its debt.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they're doing this to try to get some distance, which is, I guess, what he thinks he needs to do in this instance, then he needs some runway.
Yeah.
For that to kind of take effect. So there's no way that they're going now. Right? But here's the thing. That was one way he could have gone. There's another way he could have gone, but he would have had to decide to go that way from the start when he signed the deal. Because switching up to now would be kind of weird as well.
Yes.
But there was still a path if he did it now. Because you could say, like, Pierre Poilievre is such an existential danger. If you believe that. And the NDP tends to frame things dramatically.
Yes.
As you can tell by the choice of music. To begin with. Jeez. That was about as subtle as a sledgehammer to the forehead.
Yeah.
So, but from the beginning, had he said, Canadians elected a minority government, right? All those conservative newspaper things, you never got a mandate to do this. Yeah, we did. Actually, Canadians elected a minority government, which means work together. we came together and we promised Canadian stability with the Supply and Confidence Agreement. With the Supply and Confidence Agreement, we have dental care. We pushed hard for that.
Yes.
We have pharmacare starting. We pushed hard for that. We had anti-scab legislation. That's been an idea our party has had forever, and we pushed really hard for that.
Mm-hmm.
Government is supposed to cooperate for the benefit of the people. We believe in cooperation. We believe that Canadians are tired of the bickering and the negativity. We won't get all we want all the time.
No.
But
Goodness.
we'll get much more than what we want than if we go the conservative way. Vote for cooperative government. And he had a lane.
Yeah.
He had a lane. But the freaking obsession with wanting to permanently replace the Liberals as Canada's progressive option. They can't see the frickin' forest.
No.
They keep on being stuck on the tree.
Yeah.
And then they keep on making stupid decisions. So all along this agreement, this guy lost credibility because he keeps on shaking Justin Trudeau's hand. He's getting what he asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then turns and punches him in the kidneys as he walks away. And I'm saying punching him in the kidneys very specifically because Trudeau's a boxer. When you punch someone in the kidneys, because you pretty much get disqualified.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. Exactly.
He's been repeatedly doing this.
First, like
the freaking thing.
For the last 2.5 years. Literally, this is what he's been doing. I mean, he keeps pulling from the bottom of the Conservative playing card deck and dealing out their cards and saying Conservative talking points and blaming Justin Trudeau for all the ills of the world when so many of them have to do with provincial premiers. Like, what the hell?
And then trying to take the 100% of the credit.
Yeah.
All the time. We forced. Like, it's just stupid framing.
And here's the thing. He talks about how his mentor was Ed Broadbent. And I'm sure Ed Broadbent is lying in his grave right now going, what the hell?
I know.
This constant throwing the person you have a supply and confidence agreement with, I'm going to throw you under the bus and run over you, and then I'm going to back up over you, then run over you again. And
then I'll ask you for something else.
And at the same time, yes, we'd also like this, please.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, right? I guess you can argue that this does have something to do with being consistent with the anti-scab legislation.
Yes.
Right? Because allegedly, right? If they were looking for a pretext, they did get one. But allegedly, it's the whole deal with asking the Industrial Relations Board of Canada to order the striking rail workers back to work and enter into a binding arbitration process.
Right.
Now, that was a new thing because usually we sit in the House and we actually pass back to work legislation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This was different.
This was different. This is new. This is a precedent.
It is a precedent. And you also have to remember, for those of you who don't, in this instance, so CP, KC, and CN, the two major rail carriers, freight carriers in this country, one was locked out, the other one voted to strike, and they were locked out. So this was a very unique and different situation. The House isn't sitting, and let's face it, if both rail lines shut down, the spillover effect financially for both Canada and the U.S. would be unbelievably detrimental, because it's billions of dollars, not a day, but in some cases an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a joke.
No. So now the Liberals could have called back the House for an emergency session and held a vote on it. If you didn't want to create the precedent, that was maybe a better way to
Which I
proceed.
think they should have done, honestly.
Yes. Right. Because they have Lisa Raitt all over social media saying, well, gee, if I knew I could have done that. So the Teamsters are taking the government to court. They've abided by the order, but they're taking the government to court because this is not a precedent that they want to have stand.
No, and understandably so, right?
Okay. Now, there's another aspect of this that you're probably not going to get in the analysis, the quick hot take analysis, but those are the rail workers. The Air Canada pilots about to announce a strike, and the BC port workers have given a 72-hour strike notice. So Jagmeet Singh was going to face at least 2 more instances of very difficult questions because the House is not going to sit again until September 16th. So there might be 2 more instances between now and then where the government might have to intervene. And Jagmeet Singh, if he remained with them now, then he would face a series of very uncomfortable questions once again about, well, why are you staying with the Liberals if you're... And there are 2 more potential inflection points in a very, very short time to follow this one had he said nothing. That's a pretty uncomfortable situation for a party leader.
This from Christian. I gotta hand it to him here because I was not aware of this. It was the engineers that were on strike.
Yes.
Not the steelworkers union. Nothing would have stopped.
Oh.
Right? The steelworkers would have taken over the Teamsters' jobs, which means that both railways both workers were locked out by CN and CPKC.
Yep.
I know they're both one voted to strike. The other one were locked out, and then they both ended up getting locked out. So this is interesting. Thank you, Christian. I was not aware of that.
Yeah, neither was I.
So it's interesting how, because they were locked out by the employers, they decided, okay, well, we're all going on strike now. And then, of course, they're sort of forced back to work in a weird... This is a very convoluted situation. Thank you for alerting us to this, because I did not know that. He says his buddy works for CN. I have a good friend who works for CN, actually, and I see him frequently, and I talk to him, and I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, I don't know, bro. He's like, I'll just meet you here for wings and a beer. I'm like, yeah, okay. Sometimes he wants to open up and talk about it. Other times he doesn't, and I'm like, I'm not going to pry. He's a good lad. Bridget knows him. She loves him too. Al, if you're watching, brother. It's one of those situations where it's an ever-unfolding, convoluted, difficult situation to fully understand if you're not inside, and we are clearly not inside. Yeah, and exactly. They were both locked out. It wasn't the workers on strike yet. That is correct. There was a strike vote with CN. They voted to strike. They weren't on strike. They got locked out. CPKC locked out before they could even do anything.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, right. There are 2 more very important, and both of them, again, air travel and a port. Right. So huge economic impacts, the type of things that causes everybody to say, cancel the strike before it happens. You've done it before. Now, this is also the first time pretty much that this Liberal government has done that. They pretty much let these processes play out.
Yes.
So it's like, so the first time when it comes to actual rail transit, because the 2 rail companies, because allegedly are against corporate greed, just colluded to make this happen.
Yes.
Yes. You turn around and you say, you could turn, there wasn't, again, another option. It's like, we definitely do not want this to become a precedent, and we definitely support the Teamsters and to help support them in their legal fight. And say we don't like this. Now, again, if you want a pretext that's not a flimsy one to do this, this is one. for the NDP.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this could be a legit thing, right? So, how much this type of thing was in the supply and confidence agreement? That's why I'm saying it could be sort of tangentially related. Well, hey, man, if you pass the anti-scab legislation, then, why are you ordering back to work? Dude. So, but maybe I'm not as familiar with the supply and confidence agreement as all the terms, because it wasn't just the pharmacare and whatnot. There's a whole bunch of other things in
it was a bunch of things.
Yeah. So what it said about that, for example, what happens in case of a strike. But Jagmeet Singh was in an interesting position. Jagmeet Singh was in an interesting position for another way. One of his MPs in caucus, Matthew Green, who we've spoken of a couple of times for good reasons during the course of the shows. New Democrat labor critic Matthew Green says his party will be having, quote, tough conversations about the future of its agreement with the Liberal at a coming caucus retreat. Matt Green is seen as a potential aspirant to the leadership as well. He's, like I said, done. If somebody in the fourth party does things that got enough attention that even two schlubs like us spotted them to bring them to you, probably has some good credit in his own party.
Yeah.
Right. Fourth party.
Fourth party.
So looks like there might have been a calling out of the leader from inside the party, which is kind of interesting because the whole media narrative has been, well, there's one leader that's going to be going soon, and that's going to be Justin. What if, let's do this out Danielle Smith. What if the undercurrent story that nobody is reporting about is, what if the leader that goes first is Jagmeet Singh?
Well,
he's got 2 by-elections coming. Now, they say that it's a close race in the Montreal area, but it's a close 3-way race. So the NDP is reported, there's built expectations that they could potentially win this one. So depending on the results there. Now, again, maybe there's some frustration with the Liberals, and the people there decide, you know what, this is a way to send a message. There's still a year out. Right? Or it could be a scenario where it's very, very close. Or it could be a scenario where the gap between the Liberals and the NDP in that race that everybody said is really, really tight, and the Liberals could maybe lose it to the NDP.
Yes.
Well, then that changes the narrative now. Ooh, they perform below expectations. Now, in Elmwood's Transcona, which everybody's saying it's an NDP riding for the last 40 years or so, but is it an NDP riding or is it a Blakey riding?
Well, that's a good question, right?
Right. So if that flips, now all of a sudden Jagmeet Singh loses a seat.
Yeah.
Didn't win one, where there were high expectations built up in the media, maybe by a margin that was way wider than expected. Then the questions start. And I don't know if it's an outlier, but Léger recently came out with a poll indicating that the NDP is at 15%. Add them all together. If that scenario happens, there's a lot of ifs, but if that scenario happens, what do you think happens the next day? What do you think happens on September 17th?
Yeah. What the hell?
Jagmeet might be in trouble, and the call might be coming from inside the house.
Well, do you remember Don Newman?
Oh, from, yes, CBC Power and Politics.
Okay.
I'm Don Newman. Welcome to the broadcast.
So I've got an article from him that was written yesterday, and he says, Jagmeet Singh just traded policy for politics. And here's how the article starts, because the first paragraph, for his sake, I hope federal New Democratic leader Jagmeet Singh doesn't receive a letter from Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre telling him he should jump off the Peace Tower to see if he could fly. Because based on the evidence, he might just try and do it. Singh announced Wednesday that he is terminating the supply and confidence agreement between his party and the Liberal government of Justin Trudeau, an agreement that has kept the Liberals in power with a minority government since it was signed in 2022. Last week, Poilievre wrote a public letter to Singh urging him to terminate the agreement and force an election. The agreement was to run until June of 2025, 4 months before the next scheduled fixed-date election. It is clear why the Conservatives, coasting with a 15 to 20-point lead in polls for months now, wanted the agreement terminated. It opens up the very real possibility that the Conservatives, Bloq Quebecois, and the New Democrats will now vote together on a confidence motion to defeat Trudeau and his 9-year-old government in the House of Commons and send the country into a general election. Poilievre wants an election very badly. The state of play at press time is that his party is in the latest Abacus poll is at 42% support, compared with the Liberals at 25% and the NDP at 18%. So why would Singh think it is a good idea to kill the deal that has provided stability to a minority government for the past 2.5 years? In the short term, it takes some pressure off the NDP leader. The supply and confidence agreement has never had the wholehearted support of New Democrats, either those in the parliamentary caucus in the House of Commons or in the party more widely.
Thank you, sir.
As the Liberals have been declining in support, those New Democrats opposed to the deal have been increasingly vocal in their opposition. The NDP caucus is meeting before the House of Commons resumes on September 16th, and the deal with the Liberals would certainly be a contentious issue. Now it won't be. But going forward, terminating the deal might prove embarrassing to the NDP in the longer run. One reason the party signed on was that they did not want an election but wanted to criticize the Liberals. Before the agreement, the party would be in the awkward position of criticizing, then watering its wine on confidence matters with the Liberals to keep the House of Commons going. Now, the New Democrats are back in that position, unless they want to try their luck in a general election from 15% in the polls. While the agreement was in effect, the New Democrats had real power. Without the deal, it is unlikely Canadians would have government-sponsored dental insurance still being rolled out across the country. The same is true for the nascent pharmacare program. The supply and confidence agreement gave the New Democrats real policy influence in the House of Commons, and by extension, throughout the country. Now, they've traded that influence for one political power, the power to blow up the government and force an election in which they, as well as the Liberals, will lose seats. The loss of the supply and confidence agreement also brings a new day for the Liberals. Perhaps ironically, it will help cement Justin Trudeau's position as leader. With the possibility of an election around every corner, it becomes increasingly difficult to change leaders. Trudeau has been insisting that he will lead the Liberals into the next election, and it now appears that he will. As for Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, they are now closer to getting the election they want. Poilievre says it should be a carbon tax election on the Liberals' controversial tax to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. But after a second summer in which fires destroyed record numbers of hectares of forest and the postcard Alberta town of Jasper was devastated, running against environmental programs may not be as good an idea as it once seemed. Still, the page is turned. Parliament returns later this month. How long it will stay in session, no one can say. I mean, I can't argue with a single sentence in that column.
No, it's Don Newman.
It's Don Newman, right?
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, the man is seldom wrong.
Well, also when we had quality and curious journalism that actually asked the obvious follow-up question. And
yeah, well, he reminds me of the only other political pundit or political writer or someone of influence of that nature is I see your face. I can't think of her name right now.
Susan
Chantal Hébert.
Oh, Chantal Hébert, yeah.
I mean, Don Newman and Chantal Hébert, I may not always agree with them, but they never lied. They never made up stuff. They never leaned towards whatever political party was pushing them. They wouldn't lean into it. They would lean against it. They would fly in the face of the party if they completely disagreed with the messaging.
Yep.
Or if they thought the messaging was a big pile of, what the hell? They
Yep.
always called it honestly and earnestly.
I threw Susan Delacourt in that mix too.
Yeah. I'd
Not
throw
not all the way up to Chantal Hébert, but
correct.
pretty much.
Because there's times when I go, Susan, are you're
Yeah,
messaging?
but I mean,
yeah.
that's for everyone. But yes,
Yes.
there's sometimes. But I don't. Yes, there are times where you said that, but I think that she probably that's just sincerely her position. There's sometimes your personal position happens to dovetail.
Correct. Yeah,
Right.
and that's you're right.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It's not that you're shilling; it's just that you happen to agree.
Yeah.
Right. Or happens to push a passion button in you.
Well, and then,
but okay, where do you want to go?
well, I just wanted to show this because I don't know if you saw this. This was from Jagmeet yesterday.
Yes, exactly. Hopefully, we will get to that. Put a pin on that because we need to get to that.
That just we'll read it later for the listeners. We will read that. Trust me.
I guess, but put a pin in that because that's definitely a part of the story.
Yes.
So Jagmeet facing some pressure from the inside, it would seem, has polling numbers that are not so great. There's also talk about the Alberta NDP organizing to oppose him somehow. He has a lot of pressures coming in from the inside. So just saying, this might be a thing. I mean, definitely he's got a real pretext, create some distance, and then have some one way to work it out. Now, here are some challenges that he's got coming, however. It's not going to be, okay, we broke from the Liberals and now we're the option. Because if you listen to that ad, I took notes. And there's a couple of things that sort of clash, right? He will always cave to corporate interests, he said of Justin Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Liberals are more likely to cave to corporate interests than the NDP because of where you sit on the political spectrum, but he will always cave. He passed the anti-scab legislation, dude. There was several strikes that he allowed the collective bargaining process to play out even though he was pressured. Always. He did try to do as much as can be done with the grocers.
Mm-hmm.
And they resisted, and eventually they all joined in. All 6 of them have signed now. What that's going to do in real life, who knows? Because it's one of these, well, I guess not entirely voluntary, but I guess self-monitored type things. Says he doesn't deserve another chance. He put in place the dental care thing you wanted. He put in place the pharmacare thing you wanted. He put in place the anti-scab legislation you wanted. He put in place pretty much, they signed a supply and confidence agreement with you, and they seem to have a plan to try and implement as much of it as possible in good faith, and you kept on bitching about him the entire time. He's never had one nasty thing to say about you during the entire time of the deal. At least with regard to the deal. Yeah, I may have criticized a position on one thing or two out here or there, but like, dude, you were way more frenemy than friend during this deal. And then they can't defeat, but we can. Fourth party. The fourth party in Canada that has had the most power and influence on government in Canadian history.
Mm-hmm.
With over 25% of your mandate to go. No, I no longer want this power and I no longer want this influence. What the hell?
What the hell? That's like, what the hell?
Things will be
Just-
terrible under the conservatives, so watch me do something that, if I actually saw it all the way through, would give us conservatives. Again, it's like that thing back in the day with Leighton when they had the child care deal and all the agreements with the provinces signed and the Kelowna Accord ready to go, and then he pulled the plug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, literally, that was a thing years ago. And then he just,
If
Jack.
you want the policies, you got to keep the government in power long enough to put them in place. And then if you want them to remain, the second that they're put into place, you don't do anything to bring in a government that's already vowed to remove them.
exactly.
If you care about the policies, if you care about the people, when you say it's the people's time, why are you trying to create a situation where the stuff that you all just fought for the people gets taken away?
Mm-hmm.
Insert sound of dull cowbell clunking, clunk, clunk, clunk. I mean, again, it's not what were you thinking? It's are you thinking?
I don't think he is.
We take care of our neighbors.
Okay, then
I
why,
tried
why
to
did
usher
you?
in a government that will take care of taking away the things that take care of our neighbors.
If you're taking care of your neighbors, why did you just bail on the neighbor who was taking... What? What the hell?
When we stand united, we win. So watch me separate from this deal.
Oh, what the hell? It just, honestly, I'm going to be saying that all day today because I don't know. I've got nothing. I've got nothing else.
I've got Tucker
I've got
Carlson
nothing else.
mouth.
Yeah.
I've got Tucker Carlson mouth.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I just don't get it.
If we're in this together, nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
Again, so watch me leave so I'm not in there together and it's not going to be possible. I mean, it's a great ad if you had the behavior preceding it that went along with it. But that guy in the ad is not you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Well, this Dean from Winnipeg. See, Jagmeet didn't want a pension. He just guaranteed he won't get one. I'm like,
oh my God.
Yep.
Dude, this is so bad. And
It's so
then, of course, if we're talking about timing, right? Not only why now with a year and a quarter to go, or all that, But was it days ago?
just what the hell?
The mouth that can't stop talking sauntered up to a microphone and said, "Hey, Jagmeet, you sell out. If you really want to prove that you're a man, why don't you rip up that confidence agreement and call it carbon tax election? What are you? Chicken?"
Mm-hmm.
And then what does he go and do? He does it days after Pierre Polyev begs/commands him to. If you had done this 2 weeks ago, but you don't do it after Captain Applesauce and Commander Short Pants comes and says, "Do it."
Yeah. Like you just bowed down to the conservative leader. After he called you sellout, Singh, you went and did exactly what he asked you to do. What the hell?
Do you have Pierre's response handy?
I have No, I have different clips. I'm trying to find his direct response, and I'm not able to locate it just yet.
Okay, no wonder.
If
I'll
you
look
have
for
it, please send it to me because
Okay.
I've been trying to find it, but I'm having difficult time digging it up.
Okay. So Pierre asked him to do him a favor while
Mhm.
calling him a sellout. It's like, again, you're trying to say that you're a leader that can win the next election. Go from fourth place, 20 something seats, to winning the next election. And the leader of the opposition calls you a sellout, does something, and then you flip over and do it.
Okay, I got his video now. I had to sift through a lot of stuff to get to it because on Pierre Poilievre's page, he's got a ton of stuff. Hang on just a second. Oh, okay, yeah. Come in camera here. Come in camera here. Mademoiselle Fox is wearing her Kingston conjugal visit outfit. This way. It's the KP prison outfit.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh man.
Well, thank you, Ms. Shadika. I will check that out in a second. Here, I have the video from Poilievre. Shall we air this?
Okay, hold on. Let me get my notebook.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll cue it
I'm
up.
gonna be busy.
It's 14.5 minutes, 14 minutes and 50 seconds. We're not going to play the whole thing.
Oh God, no.
No. We're not going to. I can't stomach this guy for that long. Look, I've got a pretty solid stomach, but I can only take so much bile before I have to regurgitate. So let's just watch a few minutes of this, shall we?
A doublé. La dette nationale a doublé en ajoutant plus de 700 milliards de dollars à notre dette. M. Trudeau a causé une inflation
I'm going to
et
try
a
and skip
gonflé
ahead a bit here. Sorry.
et centralisatrice de qui garde Justin. Et maintenant, il va porter Justin Trudeau.
I don't have an issue with it
Les
being en
conservateurs de
français,
gros
but they're not providing the translation.
Ceux
Yeah.
sont responsables dans les communautés. Le Bloq et son gouvernement et stopper les crimes. C'est ça, everyone. And before I start, I just want to point out how great it is to be back in British Columbia, where my family used to take us for little vacations, camping trips. My folks were school teachers. They adopted me, and even though
Then why do you hate school teachers so much? I mean, you constantly pick on the Prime Minister because he was a school teacher. Now you're praising them in the same sentence. This guy talks out of both sides of his mouth.
came from modest means and went through a lot of hard times, it was always possible to have a modest vacation in our neighboring province of British Columbia. And my folks would tell me that, in Canada, it didn't really matter where you came from. It mattered where you were going. That anyone from anywhere could do anything. That's the country my wife came to as a refugee, starting as 6 people in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay, that's
but now
nice,
all of them have
Jagmeet,
succeeded.
but where's the...
Years of Trudeau and the NDP Liberals, that promise is broken.
NDP Liberals? What the hell?
NDP has top billing now.
Everything costs more.
Yeah.
Work doesn't pay. Housing costs have
Work doesn't pay. Wages are rising faster than inflation for about a year. Okay.
But work doesn't pay. So here's the thing: if your work doesn't pay, that would mean you're a slave.
Yeah, but he means doesn't pay enough.
I know, but
I know.
But I need to play with his terms because I'm very pedantic.
doubled. Yes. We now have the worst housing costs in all of the G7. Housing is 25 to 45% more expensive in Canada than it is in the United States of America,
check, please.
where they have to house 8 times the people on a smaller landmass. Crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are now taking over our once safe and serene streets. And what would the...
Okay, but there's no data to back up that statement.
But to clean that up, you need to invest in social programs, and you're a conservative, and you don't believe in that.
You will cut.
He's pointing out the problems. He's telling you who to blame for them, but he's not actually promising to do anything concrete about them.
No. He's a slogan boy. He's a verb, noun.
The NDP do about it? Well, for the last 2 years, Sellout Singh has signed on to...
Singh
Okay.
gave him what he asked for, and he turns around and calls him a sellout still. Except now it's true.
Except now it's like, now he did sell out. He actually did sell out by doing exactly what Skippy the Wonder Pigeon over here asked him to do. Demanded that he do.
It's true.
to a coalition, a costly coalition.
It was never a coalition, and it's funny how many pundits and media personalities are suddenly starting to call it what it actually has always been, a supply and confidence agreement.
Well, now that it's being ripped up, they kind of have to now, right?
Yes. This one from
Be a
Obsessive
little
Audio.
awkward if not. Yes. PP looks like that guy everyone avoided in high school. Yep.
Yes, he does.
Yep.
To keep Trudeau in power, raising taxes, doubling housing costs, and unleashing crimes and drugs in our streets.
Oh, please.
Come on.
Earl, please.
What the hell? Again,
Girl, please.
For the umpteenth time, if the government controls the price of housing and groceries, it means they're nationalized, which means we have total socialism or communism if everything is owned by the state. So the thing that he hates and despises the most, he tells us he's going to fix, has no solution, does not tell us how he's going to do it, but continues to dump on the other guy because it makes him look good. Okay, let's continue.
Sellout Singh betrayed the workers who thought he would stand up for them. Instead, he has stood up for Trudeau, allowing Trudeau to double our debt and cause the worst inflation in 40 years.
Yes, Justin Trudeau.
Correlation is not causation.
Justin Trudeau is responsible for all the inflation globally. He is the most powerful man on planet Earth.
Why get rid of him
He's
then?
weak. But he's weak according to conservatives.
So one of the 14 characteristics of fascism, the opponent is both too weak and too strong.
Yes, precisely.
A third of Canadians now say they consider leaving Canada. 2 million line up at food banks. 2/3 of kids, young people, and families who don't own homes believe they never will. In
Food banks
Canada,
are our social program.
we
Don't
never
believe in them.
imagined that it would be so bad that hospitals
Exactly.
would have coolers full of dead bodies because family members can't afford burials or cremations.
What's a burial?
Oh, that got morbid.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's just back that up, shall we? Because that was really dark.
That was a Katie Britt tone switch.
Uh-huh.
Dead bodies because family members can't afford burials.
Hang on, let's just back that up a few seconds here.
Who don't own homes believe they never will in Canada. We never imagined that it would be so bad that hospitals would have coolers full of dead bodies because family members can't afford burials or cremations. But that's what Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh, Sellout Singh, have delivered.
Jagmeet.
And then on food prices, well, food prices, I think we've got a CBC. Oh my goodness,
here we go.
CBC's microphone has fallen down. What do you know?
Oh, and on the sending the workers back, your microphone has fallen down, sir, right? Because you haven't said a peep about that, have you?
Uh-huh.
Who would have thought that I'd be holding on to the CBC logo here today? I'll give that to you. I don't know if that... everything is broken in Canada after 9 years of the NDP Liberals, including
Everything
the CBC
includes you.
microphone. And now Sellout Singh has pulled a stunt. the sellout Singh stunt today, where he came out and claimed that he was wrong, that the coalition was a bad, costly idea, but he refuses to commit to voting for a carbon tax election. So my message to sellout...
So I don't know how long we've been listening to this obnoxious arsehole for, but he's lied about 20 times, I think, and we're 6 minutes into a 14-minute video, and I've skipped ahead a bunch of stuff because the lying, the obfuscation, the absolute misdirection.
Christ, what an asshole.
What an asshole. You know what? I've had it with him. I can't anymore.
Well, no, he has a message in Affinity. He says, my message to Sing or something. So
All right.
let's see what the message is. He's finally getting to the point.
Here we go.
Sellout Singh is this. If you're serious about ending your costly carbon tax coalition with Trudeau, then commit today to voting for a carbon tax election at the earliest confidence vote in the House of Commons. That way we can have a carbon tax election where Canadians will decide between the costly coalition of Trudeau and sellout Singh that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and drugs on your street.
Not sticking the landing here.
We're common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
He has no solution for any of those damn things. He has no solution for
He hasn't talked about anything.
No.
None. He hasn't talked about anything. He points out the problem.
Yeah, and then
he bitches about the problem. He tells you who to blame for the problem, but he doesn't actually say he's going to fix the problem. I'll axe the tax, I'll stop the crime, I'll fix the budget like this, but he doesn't actually tell you he's going to fix the problem. He doesn't tell you how he's going to fix the problem. He doesn't even promise he will fix the problem.
Yeah. He has slogans and nothing else. Nothing else.
So he wants, and of course he wants a carbon tax election, and it's like, if walks away from his carbon tax deal. No, he walked away from the supply and confidence agreement. I'm pretty sure the NDP is kind of okay with carbon pricing.
Yeah, so is the Bloq. So is the Green Party. So
they're
literally,
the cheese that stands alone.
He stands alone on this. And here's the other thing. He says, when I'm elected prime minister, I'm going to axe that tax so quickly your heads will spin. Okay, so what he's going to do is axe your carbon rebate.
Yeah.
It's not a tax. It's a carbon regulatory recovery fee that 97% of Canadians get more back than they pay into it. I might be wrong on that number. If I am, please correct me.
I think about 19 maybe or 90. Yeah, I think it's at least 90.
90%, something like 90% of Canadians get more back than they pay into it. His daddy, political daddy, Stephen Harper, had proposed an actual carbon tax that did not give a rebate to a single Canadian. So this guy who continues to borrow pages from the Trump playbook. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's 80%.
80%. Okay, 80% of Canadians get more back than they pay into it. So again, this guy who continues to borrow slogans from the Trump playbook of Kamala, communist Kamala, sellout Singh. Really? This is what you're resorting to? This is a first for Canadian politics. This is not something that you or I grew up with.
No.
Or the vast number of viewers and listeners to this program grew up with. We did not grow up with this. This is something new. And it's because this little pipsqueak of a man, all 5'7", 130 pounds of him, this little pipsqueak of a man, because I know you're about the same height, but you got more heft and weight on you, so you're not a pipsqueak, sir.
I'm fun-sized.
Fun-sized. This little girdle-wearing pipsqueak of a man who's trying to appear tough. He's got nothing. He pulls from the bottom deck of the Trump playbook every single day by misnaming and mispronouncing the name of the leader of the New Democratic
He knows
Party.
his name.
He knows his name. He does it intentionally because he's a raging, festering asshole.
Yeah. It's like the same thing, you know. I mean, it's probably not so bad, but it's disrespectful to repeatedly get someone's name wrong, especially if you're in the same business and you're going to be talking about him a lot. You know, try to get his name. I mean, it took me a while to get saying Jagmeet all the time as the first reflex, because every time when I was writing scripts out and I was just like going so fast and I was reading, and it's like, and at some point I had to trick myself, and when I started changing it, I had to write it in my scripts with a U.
With a U, yeah.
Actually pronounce it correctly to create the habit.
He knows his name.
He knows his name. He knows his name, because, and if he really cared about getting it right, then he'd have somebody that would write it in his script with the U, right? So it's all just these little passive aggressive, little bitchy, nasty, and that's the reason why when we're looking at the polling, even though the Conservatives have this lead, I'm still considering that it seems to be more like a protest parked with you vote. And when shit gets real, people are going to start making decisions to try and motivate or encourage the Liberals to, like, get your freaking game. Like, we don't like what you're doing right now. You're not paying attention to the right things. We don't really like the other guy. But right now we're going to say that we're really seriously looking at the other guy, because you guys need to get nervous and start listening. So that could be what's going on. And this could be a legitimate, I mean, again, right? A government in Canada very rarely gets 4 consecutive terms.
Very rare. It does happen, but it's rare. But
it's very, very, very rare. But
a couple of the comments here are just brilliant, though.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, from Linda M. People don't care about history; they care about what they see they're going through now. And from Carpet Bomber on Twitter, I didn't qualify for GST this year because of income, but I still get the carbon rebate, so it's not a tax.
Exactly. If it doesn't behave like a tax, it's not.
Good on you. Good on you, Carpet Bomber. If you didn't get the GST rebate this year, that means you had a good year. So good on you. Well done.
As well.
And from Mr. Jim here, you got to remember that Pierre Elliott Trudeau won an election against Joe Clark by saying, "I won't raise your gas tax by 2 cents per liter," and proceeded to raise it by 4.
Jacques Chrétien won an election by saying, "I'm going to cut, scrap, kill the GST," did it, and then got another majority.
And never touched the GST, and kicked a member of his party out of the party for questioning him in the House of Commons about why he didn't cut the tax he campaigned on cutting. Politicians are going to politic, and that's what this little pipsqueak is doing. And he's telling people what they want to hear. But the second he gets into power, and he may very well become the next prime minister, the second he gets in, no, that's not what I said I was going to do.
It's going to be Danielle Smith.
Yeah.
It's going to be Danielle Smith.
Yes.
All the things that she didn't campaign, run on, mention, or explicitly said, no, we are not going to do that. She's doing it.
And she's doing.
And then all the things that she said that she was going to do, like do that electricity rebate. Oh, no, deferral. Or that was a deferral. Sorry, not a rebate. You still have to pay all that now. Yeah, there's an unexpected 6-month accumulated cost that you didn't think you were going to have. I just threw that on you. Oh yeah, and that income tax cut that I promised you. Yeah, we're not doing that now. I need to put more money in that savings fund to make myself look good because I need to run on something again. Oh my God, gee, things are really, really going bad after the Banff thing, and I mistook Jasper for Banff. Oh, here we go. The income tax cut. Like all of a sudden, we found the money. Here it is. Right? It's going to be that type of government.
And this one from Swanky Frankie, Paula Tricks.
Indeed. Now, of course, Mr. Brusley, I know that you are a fan of our good friends here. I say good friends here. I wish we were good friends at the Beaverton.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Headline. Jagmeet Singh asserts independence by doing exactly what Pierre Poilievre told him to do. Ottawa. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has terminated his party's confidence and supply agreement with the Liberals, boldly staking a claim to independence a few days after Pierre Poilievre told him to. Quote, "For 2 years, Canadians have seen us as the Liberals' little brother. They're yes men," said Singh. But now they know we are a proud, independent political party who will do anything to avoid being called out by a conservative leader who is clearly trying to manipulate us into calling an early election. And if that election results in a right-wing government that destroys the dental care and farm repair programs we built, then it will have been well worth it for people to stop making fun of me on Twitter. Singh likely made this choice because polls show Pierre Poilievre's efforts to tie the NDP to the unpopular Liberal government were working well. But now that the NDP is on its own, Poilievre won't be able to make those arguments, unless, of course, he is a bad faith actor that says things that benefit him even if they are true.
Well, have you seen this from our friend Mark
Hold on.
Gerritsen?
Oh, what the hell?
What the hell?
No, that
Or-
I'm actually the
You lost
article disappeared from my
Disappeared.
screen and got replaced by one of those tell us things you won a prize.
Oh, you may have a virus or some malware that is spitting stuff on your computer. Trust me, once you get your Mac Mini operational, you don't have to worry about those things anymore.
That's the first time that's ever happened to me. Quote, arguably, I am throwing away the most political power my party has had in a generation, but on the plus side, Poilievre can never call me sellout Singh again, said Singh.
That's it. And to
Girl,
answer your
he
question,
just did.
To answer
You
your
just showed
question,
it.
Ree, it's from the Beaverton, so it's satire.
Yes.
But it's one of these things where the satire is so close to hitting the bullseye. It seems like real news.
And the last line, at press time, Poilievre was still calling him out sellout Singh.
As just witnessed by what he said yesterday.
And we have it on tape.
We have it.
We just showed it to you. Okay, so now everybody's talking, of course, right? Okay, this is what is, you're not really getting like what might be underground for the NDP. Conservatives, well, they're happier than a pig in shit right now, and they're going to crow about this for a while. But I mean, they're still just as politically impotent as they were before. They still need both parties. And Blanchet is not a particularly big fan of PP.
No.
At all. Especially because, Poilievre is going around Quebec calling it the Bloq Libéral. Like they're in some type of alliance. And like everybody in Quebec is going like, dude, have you met us? Do you think we're fucking that dumb?
Well,
do you think that we're really that dumb that we believe that there's ever a universe, galaxy, postal code, dimension, or area code in which the Bloq and the Liberals would be working together as an alliance?
I mean,
you're going to come into our house and tell us that this is going. Get the fuck out of here. That's not
hell?
working for. And Blanchet is that type of personality, right? I mean, we saw that in the first debate. You're going to come. You think you're going to come into Quebec and tell me how things are going to run? I'm going to tell you how things are
not going to happen.
That homie, don't play that shit. So, that's going nowhere for him, like this. But the Bloq, I mean, let's face it, right? Whatever. I mean, well, they don't want a conservative government anymore because they know that he's going to be a little. So Trudeau is not going to be alone in trying to take this fathermucker down.
No.
I'm going to say Singh's not going to do the job. Watch it. Blanchet's going to do, because Blanchet has no time for him. No time for him. So, what about Trudeau? What does this mean for him? Oh my God, he's now on a tightrope. He's down a tight wire. He's been stuck into a corner. This is another bad thing for Trudeau. Is it?
Is it? Is it really?
Is it really? Because now dental care is passed, and they're committing to do more on the pharmacare, and the anti-scab legislation is there. And well, since they had a hand in it, because it's not true that Jagmeet did it 100% on its own, on his own. Sorry. And now they seem rather committed to the bit.
Mm-hmm.
If the Liberals were ever resistant to doing it, it's like that Life cereal commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Canadians, they like it. So they're going to own it now. and they're going to run on it. So Jagmeet put all this work in and spent all this capital to get these things done that he's now putting at risk, for which he tried to claim 100% of the credit rather than the actual part of the credit that actually belonged to them, while being generous and giving the other party credit for their share of it. And now the party that he's saying that he had to force into it going to say, yeah, we did that, and we're really happy about it, we're proud of it, and hey, maybe we'll even expand it because we really believe in this now. Now, that's one thing. Number two, the Liberals are being criticized by the Conservatives for being way too radical left. Way too radical left. If they are no longer associated with the NDP, well, that gives them an opportunity to politically manspread to cover more of the center-right, because we know that the Conservatives sure as hell abandoned it. They're so far right that they're nowhere near center-right. So, and we've had some hints that that's the way that Trudeau might want to go in the next election. I mean, he did appoint Charles Adler to the Senate, and he did uncharacteristically go to the Canadian Industrial Relations Board to invoke to get them to order, but really he did them back to work, which is a very conservative thing to do. Maybe that's the reason we haven't heard a word from Pierre Poilievre, because he doesn't actually oppose it, but he wants to pretend that he's the workers' guy. So he's saying nothing, and given that the NDP was already going to oppose it, why get involved? Which is an incredible amount of discipline for the mouth that never shuts up. So it's not that he's not disciplined. Like Donald Trump, when there's a word he doesn't want to say, Russia, he's pretty good at not saying it. Just interesting little tidbit. You'd think that the Conservatives would have been the first to call for them to go back to work and be ordered back. And when it happened, would have said, good, or not like that. But he said nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's crickets in Conservative camp. So the Liberals are in a position now to shore up their right flank. People on the left who actually care about the programs more than ideology, if their vote is undecided, they might be a little more decided one way than another. And for the NDP, who thinks that they are going to get something out of this, they still have two big problems to solve. One is the urban-rural split, because their 24 seats have a big division between rural and urban. That's why, for example, the NDP took a way different position on the gun control issue than did the Liberals, especially when the Liberals made that stupid cell phone of trying to force in last-minute changes during COVID. Dumb move, especially because everybody had agreed. So they got that urban-rural split. And then if you think that the Palestinian issue was divisive for the Liberals, it's pretty divisive for the NDP too. And the NDP is almost similar to the Conservatives. The Conservatives are so pro-Israel. Every now and then they mention something about Muslim people. Yes, but they're really, really pro-Israel. You can see it in all their own rhetoric. And the NDP is very, very, very pro-Palestinian. I mean, they're outright saying it's genocide. Right? And when you outright say something that's genocide, well, then you get the purity thing.
Yeah, which
Because if you truly believe it is genocide, then why aren't you doing absolutely everything in your power to stop it? Because what is worse than genocide? It's not a bad point. Logically, it makes sense. Now, of course, that fits into the context that this is politics for Canada and for Canadians. And then it becomes, how much do you let an issue that is not directly about all Canadians be the driving force of your party that has a mandate to serve the interests first of Canadians? And there are some people that will tolerate a little bit of impurity, but there are some that won't tolerate at all. Jagmeet either will not be able to live up to those expectations.
No.
All the attention right now is on the Liberals. If they break away like this, and now they become the sole owner of the pro-Palestinian side of this issue, but the NDP still realizes, well, they do have Jewish voters. And they make one or two decisions that don't go all the way. All of a sudden, that movement is going to be more focused, or is going to have split focus with the NDP to try and keep him in line too. And if he's going around the nation having to address that issue a lot as well, that knocks him off message, because right now they were only asking the Liberals about it. And now he's going to have to prove it with his own policies that he's standing alone. And that issue has taken down so many things. That issue is so complicated, and those who believe they are on the right side of it are very, very adamant. Because they are a political force that they have to be factored in.
Well,
you're not going to be able to avoid them. Right? They show up everywhere. We've seen what they do. Right? They are that invested. So it's going to be an issue. And if, like I said, if their position on the spectrum is that we're the party for you, and they don't deliver. So he's not in a great position for Justin Trudeau. That kind of splits the attention a little bit. I mean, the heat's always going to be on him for that because he's the prime minister. Yes, but it might be split a little bit.
It's tough to say. I honestly don't know. I don't know what's going to become of us. I mean, us as in this nation that we live in, Canada. I mean, look, Jagmeet just created a week's worth of content for us. Like literally. I said that to a friend yesterday. I said, well, we'll discuss this on the show tomorrow. I wanted to discuss something else, but now we got to talk about this because he's created a week's worth of content for us, which I'm thankful for, but not thankful for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense to anybody watching or listening.
Yeah. I mean, quality content is quality content. But again, I keep on saying, like this, I would still like to maintain peace, order, and good government rather than have super really entertaining I think I can manage to develop some entertaining enough and quality enough content without having to sacrifice democracy. Please. And thank you.
Well, and from PNC Bio here, this is a brilliant comment. Just to poke a hole in Pierre's logic. If Canadians are too poor to be able to live, who's donating all the money to the Conservatives?
Indeed. So, for the Liberals, there is an opportunity right now, especially since they're going to have their caucus meeting in Nanaimo, BC, to start breathing some fresh life into a government.
I'll be right back.
Okay. That a lot of people are describing as tired. We have a rapidly improving microeconomic situation. The Bank of Canada, in a move that'll make Skippy spit teeth, just cut interest rates yet again. So now That rate's at 4.25. The U.S. Fed is looking like they will have a rate cut as well. That it could probably motivate more rate cuts in Canada. Of course, one of the conditions is that inflation keeps on diminishing, but inflation is at 2.5%, which is the lowest it's been since early 2021, I believe. So interest rates are going down, inflation is going down, wages are still increasing at a higher rate than inflation. And GDP numbers are growing. GDP is growing faster than expected. It was planned to come in at 1.5 in the most recent quarter, and Bank of Canada released numbers, or statistics kind of released numbers saying that it came in at 2.1%. So, these are not bits of news that makes PP happy, but these are bits of news that for the Liberals are good. Because especially if they're going to adopt another narrative, especially if they take me up on my idea on saying, like this, maybe not so much sunny ways, but better days ahead, finally, after COVID and after Trump, especially if Kamala Harris wins the U.S. election. Trump is a non-issue, at least for the next, non-issue, as much as you can be a non-issue, for the next 4 years. But in terms of getting political power, table is set for things to be improving for the Liberals if there's a way to take advantage of it and if Canadians are willing to listen. And only time will be able to tell that, right? Because you have to see how things play out. And let's say, I'm not convinced yet that it's too late, but it could very well be that it is too late, right? For the Liberals, it could very well be that people have indeed decided this type of drag has gone on for long enough that one should seriously give consideration to that's the case. But again, we are still within more than a year from an election. And typically when you're looking at polls historically, if Canadians are expressing dissatisfaction with the government for a while, it's like that. And then as you get closer to the writ period, things start to get real for people. And sometimes there's a very big narrowing of the gap just in time for the start of the election. So we don't know if that's going to happen. If that doesn't happen, then it's definitely a changed election, that people have definitely decided that the Liberals are going, and it's just a decision about who. But if it's the other way around, then you maybe have a situation of, we're not happy, so make us an offer we can't refuse. So, and it seems that given changing positions, if we're looking at polling again, changing sentiment about immigration, changing sentiment about other things, that for the people who like things that are more on the left, they might be disappointed in what the Liberal offer is going to be next time around, because the Liberals might feel that they need to take a step more to the right in terms of what they're going to promise in order to shore up that flank, to make sure that that side that's worried about, they don't want to vote for Pierre Poilievre, but they are worried that we are spending too much or that we are not making the right decisions. They need to be reassured somehow. So that might be where it goes. So it is potential that it could be an election that is not so much about the things like dental care and pharmacare and whatnot, and more about fiscal responsibility and right-sizing the immigration system and, getting housing built and that type of stuff. Strategically, it would not be unwise for the party to do that. So, but it's going to make a lot of people unhappy if they do go that way. But if the goal is to get reelected, and they need to get reelected to make sure that these programs like pharmacare and dental care and the national daycare, the national food program remain ingrained enough that it becomes politically disadvantaged to the point of being potentially fatal to campaign against them, like campaigning against healthcare is. They need another term, at least. So whatever they need to do to get it, or whatever positions they need to take, depending on where the window shifts, if we're talking pure strategy, is it where they will go if they're a smart party. And I'm thinking that that's probably what's going on in Ontario too with Bonnie Crombie. It's like, if she's getting the sense that Ontario is not really ready for a Sunny Ways type progressive liberal government because Ford seems to be having still so much support, then campaign on being a better version of a center-right conservative than the guy that's there is probably strategically smart, even though it doesn't make the progressive side happy. Right? But it's the point first is to get into the power, and then hopefully you can do the things that hopefully there will be opportunities to do more. Now, Trudeau could also decide to go take a step left, for example, really buy into climate change and, present a big policy, present a UBI, and run that way. And there's a path for him there too to crowd Jagmeet out on the other side. But if he's at 15%, again, there's always a core group that will just never vote Liberal no matter what in the NDP, thinking that, all the NDP vote is up for the Liberal. That's not going to happen, right? We just saw it in BC. Even though BC United was down out of the water, there was still 10% of people that were going to vote for it. Right? So every party has that segment. They're not a monolith. So expecting the entire vote to go towards the Liberals is not going to happen. And the more sort of worker, NDP wing might go conservative because the Conservatives are trying to make a push for that vote. Right. So especially more out west, right, where sometimes the battle is in between the Conservatives and the New Democrats. So these are all these things to think about, but this is not necessarily all bad or instant disaster for the Liberals. It does create an opportunity, just like it does for Jagmeet Singh, to create some distance from the Liberals, for the Liberals to create some distance from the, well, you see, we're not as left, or we're not the Communist Party, as Polyev says that we are. Look, there's a party far more to the left than we are. And with a couple of strategic policy decisions that make, that alleviate the concerns of, people that are on the center right, there's now a path, a bigger path than there was before. But again, the question is, are Canadians listening? So that's about all I got for that. I think Mr. Grizzly has something going on there. So I will move to another subject, but it's somewhat related. In Ontario, there actually is a by-election process underway for the provincial government to replace the seat that former, very short-term education minister Todd Smith occupied before going out to a really plum job. And it seems that Doug Ford called it rather quickly for a quick turnaround, because the by-election date is September 19th in the Bay of Quinte. Now, I have it on good authority. I have someone for whom I could get things on good authority now.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Do
kind
tell.
of interesting. Yes, I have it on good authority that leaders were in the Bay of Quinte area.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to door knock in that by-election in Ontario. And it seems that Doug Ford went down there for about 1 hour to knock on doors, and then vanished, with it not being announced before and no press. This is a PC seat. Now, the incumbent has left, but this is a progressive conservative seat. Bonnie Crombie was there.
Mm-hmm.
She got press. The NDP candidate in the area got press. That's all.
Mhm.
It would seem that Bonnie Crombie got herself a very, very, very strong candidate in that riding. Someone who is a radio personality in the area that people really like. So it's not a sure thing here that the progressive conservatives are going to retain that seat, which might have something to do with dumbass Dougie Donuts announcing just the other day that there will be no election this year. Because how awkward would it be to come back from 19-week vacation and say we're going into an election if you've just lost a by-election for a seat you held?
Mhm.
Oh. Yeah. Popped in for 1 hour, didn't announce he was coming, and then just zoomed right out, didn't do no press, didn't do anything to really elevate his candidate. He just ticked a box, said, yeah, I went and I knocked for you. But yeah, in the Bay of Quinte, there are 4 candidates. The Ontario PC Party announced Wednesday that Tyler Alsop has been named the PC candidate for the district following the resignation of Todd Smith on Friday, August 16th. Alsop is a former owner of Doug's Bicycle, joined Belleville City Council in 2021, and is chair of the Police Forces Service Board. He will request an unpaid leave of absence from council for the election period. Amanda Robertson, the local school board trustee, was announced Thursday as the NDP candidate. Robertson is a school board trustee representing Belleville Thurlow and vice chair of the Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board. She lives in Belleville with her 3 children and husband, who is a local family doctor. Belleville City Councillor Sean Kelly will represent the Liberal Party for the Bay of Quinte by-election. Kelly is the longtime program director at Quinte Broadcasting radio stations in Belleville. He is now serving his second term as a councillor for Ward 1 in Belleville. And Lori Bothwick has been named by the Bay of Quinte Green Party candidate. Has been named the Bay of Quinte Green Party candidate. She has been serving as the Riding Association president. She began a career as a respiratory therapist at the Belleville General Hospital, where she worked for more than 30 years. So yeah, they got them a city councillor who is a radio personality, who's serving a second term, so he's liked.
Mhm.
Bonnie may have been busy quietly doing some background work, because if she's been working to grab candidates like that, maybe she's got something up her sleeve. Maybe. And definitely, if the Progressive Conservatives lose this by-election, that's definitely going to give her some platform. Right? You just flipped a Progressive Conservative seat, leader of the opposition. Is she leader of the opposition? No, she's not. Eh? I don't know. That's terrible. Do the Liberals have more seats? They are so nowhere. I don't know. They're not. No, Liberals don't have less seats. Merritt Stiles is leader of the opposition. What am I talking about? I had a Biden-esque moment. All right, kits and cubs. That's a wrap for today. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show, because we loved making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. Now, if you don't want to miss an episode, you don't have to. Just scan that QR code that's there thanks to the Ray Girl, because she sponsored our pod page. If you're listening, podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. Now, if you want to support us in other ways, then you need to surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where I think it's like 12,500 or something now. It's
Let me just check. It's somewhere
growing.
in that neighborhood.
But please go there and make like Elaine and
12,579.
12,579 and smash with those buttons. Like, share, subscribe, get freaky. It makes us happy, and right now, hopefully that's enough subscribers so that we're starting to get some revenue in from just existing from the ads and clicks and views and stuff, because that would be really nice. But we really, really thank you for your support. That's really, it means a lot to us. And if you really, really like this episode and would like to encourage us to do more, well, then that QR code by Mr. Grizzly's Head will bring you to our coffee page, which is our tip jar. Coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And there you go. If you leave us a little something, total gratitude. Thank you very much. If you're not able to, please don't worry.
Yeah, it's no worries.
No,
I understand.
Yes, the gift of your participation and your attention is the one that is the most important to us. So please let us. Sorry,
I have to leave right now. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. Stuff, life, problems. I got to go. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music.